would be their main call. Their main call would be to call me, ask me can they borrow money or whatever. They would give it back. If they didn't give it back, it wasn't a big deal because I wasn't giving it to them. If I don't have it to give, I'm not going to let you borrow it. I don't care if you say you're giving it back tomorrow. It doesn't matter to me because if you need it tomorrow, whatever you was gonna do can wait till tomorrow. But they were always calling me for money. And then there was one time something happened with one of my cards or something, and I called and I was like, "Can I borrow like whatever?" I asked them to borrow, and they was like, "I don't got it." And then it was another time I waited. It was a long time in between. Something else happened. I'm like, "You got $20?" Like, no, I don't got it. I don't got it. So then I thought to myself, every time this person calls me, I let them borrow money. Or if I don't have it, I don't have it. But majority of the time, they usually get it. So I was like, all right, every time they call me, I can help them, but they can never help me. And then I thought to myself, if that's the case, I'm calling the wrong people because they're never going to be able to help me if they're always coming to me asking me for help. They're not ever going to be able to help me. I can't get $20 until Friday from them because they can't even help themselves. So if they can't help themselves, how are they going to help me? And I think if we really look at certain situations and stop thinking, oh, because that's my cousin, because that's my sister, because that's my friend, and really look at what people's situations really are, if they can't help themselves, how are they going to help you? Even certain people that come and they like I was saying before, they emotionally dump on you and then they leave. And then when you try to emotionally dump on them, you need somebody to talk to, you need a shoulder to lean on, they're not around because they can't even handle their own emotional issues. They sure can't handle yours and theirs on top of that. Like they can't handle it. So I think it's time we stop expecting help. Hey, how are you? Stop expecting help from people thinking that it's going to be reciprocated. Because if they're constantly coming to you for help, they're constantly coming to you. I had somebody tell me one time, they're like, "Oh, you're my diary." And I'm like, that's that's too much. Like I should be able to go to you sometime. And they would even say to me, how come you never confide in me or you never say anything to me? For one, I didn't really trust this person. And then whenever they have their little whatever arguments or whatever with people, they would start going to tell everybody else's business to everybody. So I never got to that point where I was just like, I want to tell you anything. But if they're always coming to you all the time, they're always coming to you, they can't help you. So you can only do two things when it comes to you needing help, you needing support. You can only do two things. You can either face the fact that they're never going to be able to help you or level up your people. And I think a lot of times nobody wants to really level up their friendships and family and talk to different people because they feel like, oh, now I got to learn this new person. I got to when most of the time those people are in your life, you just don't talk to them because you might not want to hear the truth sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with the truth. But I think a lot of times people, they do want to be pacified about certain things when you really need to know the truth. And that's why you don't talk to certain family members because auntie such and such is going to say how she feel. And sometimes you be thinking they're going to come at you rude, but they ain't even coming at you rude. They're just coming at you like, this is what you need to do. You're stuck in a situation. You go talk to auntie such and such and she helps you out that situation. But your cousin couldn't help you because your cousin can't help themselves. So constantly going to people that can't help themselves, you're going to be constantly let down all the time. You're going to be let down. You're never going to feel like any of these people can help me. And then you have to really think to yourself, if I'm the one helping everybody, nobody's helping me. That circle is not even a circle. It's just everybody's coming to you. You're the magnet, they're coming to you. And especially when you are a helper and you like to serve people, you have to be careful who you let in your life because the people that will I don't want to say everybody's a user, but some people are users and they will just use you. And if you don't say nothing and you don't set boundaries, they're going to continue to use you. So you have to make sure you're setting boundaries, or not being around people that you know are going to emotionally drain you. There was somebody I used to be friends with, and we were friends for years. And I noticed every time I got off the phone with her, I always felt like tired and emotionally drained, and I just didn't like the rest of the day. I didn't want to do anything. And I was like, I always feel like that when I talk to her. So I started to separate myself. And then she did something that made me just like, she was cut off. Like, I'm not answering the phone. You know what you did. I'm done talking to you. So when you get to that point where you're really self-evaluating the people that you have in your life. Because if you're the one that everybody always comes to, that's not good. Yeah, I felt like that before too. That's why I could really speak on this and really be firm in my no's when I say no to people, and really be like, I'm not giving you no money. I'm not doing this. I could really be firm in my no's because I know how people get down. And I got to the point where I was just like, every every Thursday you need to borrow some money, like until Friday, until tomorrow, like every Thursday there's something you need to borrow money for. After a while, I was just like, no, if I had the money or not. Because now you're getting to the point where you're just calling me only to borrow money, or only calling me when you need something, or only calling me when you're feeling bad and your other little friends ain't around, because your other little friends can't handle you emotionally and they can't talk you off the ledge like I can. That's another thing. A lot of people really honestly need to grow up. There's no getting around it. They need to grow up. They need to stop acting like their problems are everybody else's problems. Sometimes you need to go and handle the problem yourself. I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of people need to grow up, and they come to certain people and they just dump on them, and it's just like, you can't even say, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going?" It's oh, guess what happened? And then I'm like, every time I talk to you, something happened. Why you gotta talk like that? Every time I talk to you, something happens, because you're only calling when something happens. And people don't like when you really tell them the truth about themselves. And then they start, either you're gonna separate yourself or they're gonna separate themselves from you. Because after a while, once you start telling people, every time you call me, there's something wrong. Every time you call me, you need to borrow money. Every time you call me, you need a ride. Every time you call me, like, no. Every time you call, like, I had one person was calling me about this same guy all the time. It's just like, well, what are you gonna do? Like, I said, tell me, like, so tell me something new about him. Like, tell me something new that he did wrong. Like, this is the same stuff every couple of months. Like, there's no point in talking about this anymore. I was going through something one time, and my sister friend, she said to me, what's going on with this situation? And I said, I haven't figured out a way to change it yet. And I'm not going to sit here and keep talking about it. And she was like, oh, no, you need to talk about it. No, when I figure out a way to change it, then I'll talk about it. When I'm done with the situation and over it, then we could talk about it. But right now, until I figure out some kind of way to get out of the situation, I'm not talking about the situation. I'm not going to keep talking about the situation. Or they have toxic people in their life they can't let go, and they exhaust you with their toxic. Yeah. And that's another thing. Like, I don't, you got these toxic people in your life, and then they're calling you about what this person did. And then you're just like, well, leave them alone. And they're like, but that's my friend. That's my friend. I don't want to hear it no more. That's your friend. Go off and be with your friend. But I don't want to hear about them no more. I don't want to talk about them no more. You know how your friend is. You know how your friend get down. I don't want to talk about it. And I will be quick to change the subject, or I will be quick to end the call. Like, I don't care anymore. And I'm not doing it to be mean or anything. But if you constantly, I'd be telling some people, you're a glutton for punishment. Like, there's no there's no getting around it. You're a glutton for punishment. Because if you constantly deal with the same people doing the same thing to you all the time, and you don't put your foot down, or you don't start separating yourself from them, You like it, I love it. Like at this point, because I'm not listening to it no more. It's been 10, 20 years, they're still doing the same thing. Like, are you really expecting a change? And those be the main people that be like, I am who I am, I'm never gonna change. And you still want to sit and be like, oh, I have so much, I have so much faith in them changing. They're not changing. They are who they are. They like being it. Some people like to be toxic. Some people like to always be in some kind of emotional, uh, I was gonna say Ferris wheel, but a merry-go-round. Like they like to do that, and then they like to come dump it on you, and you let them dump it, and then you feel like, why do I feel like this? Because you sat there and you let them emotionally dump on you. Then you feel funny because you don't you don't want to deal with them, but you're dealing with them when you shouldn't feel funny about it at all. If someone is disrespecting you, cussing you out, waving a finger in your face, the first thing you want to do is fight. But when people call you and they're disrespecting you, disrespecting your boundaries, disrespecting you as you're supposed to be their friend, but they're not treating you. They're treating you like a therapist, basically. They're dumping all their stuff on you. They don't even want to. They're just trying to wrap codependency in a pretty ball, but it's still a mess. Always a mess. They don't want any accountability for the stuff that they do. So you helping them and always helping them, and then when you need just a little bit of help, oh, I just need to go take my tire to the tire place. They can't even do that. They can't even help you bring the tire to the tire place. Like little things, little things. You said my card is not working. I don't know what's going on with my card or something happened. I just need $20 for gas until tomorrow. They can't even help you do that. You got to start looking at the people in your circle because they're not trying to help you. They don't want to help you. They if if I say to somebody, right, it's certain people I could call right now and I could say, "Can I have $20?" They're not going to ask no questions. Not going to ask you no questions. They're not going to hesitate. If they don't have the $20, I don't have it. Or give me a minute. Give me a little bit. I'll see what I could do. But then you got some people, they be like, well, what do you need $20 for? Like, you going to give me $20 or not? So you really got to start evaluating your circles. You 40 something years old. Mm-mm. I'm 43 years old. I'm not. I'll stay home and listen to music by myself. I'll hang out with my kids. I'm not doing this whole so-called friendship mess. I ain't got time for it. I ain't even have time for it when I was younger. So definitely now, not dealing with it. You got to put people where they belong. When I was younger, I had people that I went out with, I had people that I was close with, I had people that I did certain things with. Like, I'm not trying to I'm not trying to have all these different circles. You too. I'm not trying to have all these different circles. Now I'm 43. I'm not trying to be sitting around like, oh, I'm gonna call such and such because such and such she like going out to eat. No, I don't. I got I got 3 kids. I don't got time for it. I don't I don't have the I don't have the emotional capability to handle some of the stuff that people my age are still dealing with that they were dealing with when they were in their 20s. You're still dealing with this stuff and we're 40 now, this is 20 years later, and it's like I'm looking at people and I get invited to stuff all the time and people be like, why don't you come? And I'm like, oh, my kids got something that night, or oh, I already got plans. Even if I plan to stay home and sit in my pajamas, like I'm not being. I don't want to be. I don't want to be around people that just make me feel emotionally drained all the time. And I'm emotionally drained, and now they're just like they don't suck the life out of you, and they're going on with their day, and it's like, okay, we're older now. Like, yes, I'm 45. My patience is thin. It's very thin. I can't even say I've ever really had patience because I will cut people off when I was younger too. But now it's just like, this is what y'all still doing. You're still complaining. You're still mad at everybody. You're still talking about your mother didn't do this, your father didn't do that. I don't have time for it. I don't want to hear it. You're not going to emotionally dump your childhood trauma on me when there are a whole bunch of therapists around. I'm not doing it. Hey, how you doing? I'm not dealing with it. And I'm just like, yeah. And people will say to me, how come you're not friends with this person? How come you're not friends? It's not meant to be friends. You're not meant to be friends with people for the rest of your life. Some people, maybe. But no. People that are constantly using you, constantly, who are we attacking today? Ain't nobody attacking anybody. Be quiet. People that are constantly using you, they always need something, they're always dumping on you. You have to separate yourself from those people or set some boundaries. That's all you could do. And if you're not willing to do that, then stop complaining about it. Because ain't no point in you complaining about something you ain't trying to change. And that's about it. I'll talk to y'all later.